Thumbnail.
Oh, wait, I gotta get all the stuff off my lap.
Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of June and Summer.
Summer, what is this? It's June and Summer burlesque thing. Okay.
Why is the camera so far?
I got a lot going on. You think it's far today?
Maybe not. I don't know. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back. Good
We have a lot going on.
afternoon.
I'm a little bit behind schedule today, as you can see. I'm preparing my water. We have a great
Guys,
show
if
planned.
you've been with us since the show from day one, you would know that I used to come on set at literally 3:59. I was here at 3:15.
Sometimes when you have
Hi,
too,
Portia.
sometimes when you have too much time on your hands, things just get crazy. But I have to say to
Mom,
Summer,
are you on a cellular device? Oh my god.
I just want to say, making sure my Summer was here on time early. We have two incredible authors joining us today.
Oh, someone said I look like Storm Raid. Who looks like Storm Raid? Me or Mom? Oh, wait, who looks
what?
like Storm Raid? Me or Mom? Someone says I look like someone looks like Storm Raid.
We have Vanessa Williams joining us today. And I'm really excited to talk about her new children's book. I wish Summer was, the age where I can read her these great stories again. But
You can still read to me.
oh, thank you, Summer. I can't wait.
You can read Harry Potter to me. I just started it.
And we have author Evelyn Fennell, which I'm really excited to talk with her. She has a book out called Remember to Breathe, Growing Through Grief. And, this is a time of a lot of loss, so talking to her and hearing her story should be quite interesting.
Yes.
And quite full of love. Evelyn Fennell,
Evelyn,
Yeah,
no, we'll
yeah.
be talking about
Remember to Breathe.
going through grief.
Another author. I know Summer's kind of.
I'm a little standoffish about this one just because.
No, but her story is one that we need to hear.
No, I understand. No, of course. But you guys know me.
I get emotional. I do.
Talking about these things is just, it's a lot for me, okay? So if I'm quiet,
But life is happening.
I'm listening.
Life is happening. Okay, let's try so we can get Evelyn in here again. We tried to connect her the first time. Summer's chair dancing again. But just, I'm hoping you guys are enjoying the conversation so far. There's so much going on. Oh, there you go.
I'm back. Okay.
Oh, that was so scary.
What the heck?
Ooh, Evelyn, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
wait, can you guys see her?
And the request. No, I think everyone can see you now.
No, they're still saying.
Oh, they can't. Eli, can you see our guest, Evelyn Fennell?
Somebody's
Now
saying there she is.
Okay, so
good.
we're in the game.
We're back and we're better.
So, Evelyn, let me just say this.
Oh,
I was really taken by your book. I don't have, I hope you have it in hand so you can share it. I don't have it in hand to share.
yeah, I
with everybody.
do.
Okay, but I just want them to see this this masterpiece. I want you to kind of talk to us a little bit about your story. And I think that, guys, this is a crazy time for everyone. There's a lot of loss. Evelyn, I noticed on your Instagram page you talk about a number of issues, and you've really channeled. I love the line "growing in grief," and
Yeah.
I just think that's such a powerful statement. Between COVID and us losing so many people, between the gun violence and on the streets, the violence of police brutality, but you lost, your son. And can we talk about what kind of led you? Let's talk about that story, and then what led you to taking your grief and putting it into this piece of work, this book.
Okay. Well, I lost my son, Joseph Malik. He was 22 years old. He was on his way to work, and a driver ran a red light and T-boned his car. He was ejected and suffered a severe brain injury, and he died the next day. Shortly after that, I just began writing, because I journal a lot, and I just began writing things that God was telling me, and I'm writing out my thoughts and things that he's speaking to me about what I'm dealing with, the pain. And a few months later, I wrote the book. I didn't publish it until 3 years later, 4 years later, but it was written basically in the first 8 months after he died.
did you feel like, because the title of the book is Remember to Breathe, and I know personally through my journey with grief, there was a moment, there's a moment of feeling like you're suffocating, that someone is holding, like you can't catch your breath. Is that title based off of kind of that experience? I mean, first of all, a mother losing a child is no greater loss, right? I mean, we all
Right.
kind of know as adults that we have to come to, we have to lay our, parents to rest. That's just a natural cycle of life, but it's not natural of a thing
Right.
to have to lay a child to, to rest. So, I have two questions. Did you feel, was that describing how you felt? And did you seek counseling as well during this time?
Oh, yes. Well, Remember to Breathe, when the doctor, we were in the room when Joseph was in his coma, in his comatose state, and the doctor told us that, he said the words nobody wants to hear, your son is dead. And in that moment, I just heard God tell me to breathe. He said, breathe. And I think that that's what helped me to be able to help my husband and my sister and my brother-in-law who was in the room with us at the time, because I heard that breathe. And then as we began to tell family members, someone had called me and they were all frantic and, like they couldn't breathe. I could hear it in their voice. And I said, breathe, breathe, take a deep breath. So those words God just gave to me, remember to breathe, because when something traumatic happens to you, you lose your breath. It gets taken away. So unless you remind yourself to breathe, you could actually die. You could actually faint. You could, fall out or something because you have lost your breath. So that's where the title came from, Remember to Breathe, as God spoke that to me.
It's been
And
4 years now.
it just turned 5 years, June 5th.
And I'm sure, June 5th, that's my birthday.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Wow. Is that the day you lost him?
Yes.
Your
The accident was
birthday
June
right,
4th.
right.
I know. It's, I got goosebumps. It's also Breonna Taylor's birthday. We share the same birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like there's all these angels connected to me in some way.
Oh, wow.
That I was brought to you, and that I'm able to lend my platform to you to kind of talk people through this time, because grief people are dealing with grief, and their stories are different, but it's still grief. It's still a feeling of loss. So,
Oh, yeah.
I thank you for taking the time to talk about something so painful and so raw. And I know as a mother, because my mother lost a child at 14, my sister, she never got over it. So you kind of you go on, obviously, and you live, but you just, I just feel like she just never, ever got over it. So I know how painful it is to probably still talk about it. So I thank you for, for your candor and just being so open with us. You also you've leaned towards ministry. Can we talk about, how ministry has helped you, and what your new mission is, and how you're turning this grief into something of good?
Yeah, I think that when, you talked about your mom, she never got over it. I don't think that you ever get over it. I think there's a way that you work through it.
Mm-hmm.
And the ministry, I find that when I'm really down and depressed, when it starts to hit me hard, is when I have to go out and help somebody.
Mm.
So while this hurts me talking about it, if I can help somebody in their pain and help them get through it or get to the next step, then that's what it's all about. Because I think that it's in your pain you're able to share, and that people can receive and they'll be helped. So the ministry, it just sort of like blossomed after the death of my son, being able to reach some other people on a different level, as far as grief and pain goes in that sense. So, but I also believe that women, when they lose their son or they lose a child, even fathers, I'm not going to say just the mothers, but I think that it helps us to talk about our children. So that's why you see nowadays with all the things that are happening to Black men and Black girls, that mothers are going out afterwards, and they're protesting, and they're becoming one became a congresswoman, I believe, one of the mothers. But it's because you have to be active so that you can find some kind of closure in what happened to your child.
Or give
So I
it
think
purpose
that
in a sense. Give
that's
it
just
purpose.
across the board, that you're automatically going to start trying to help somebody else, as a way to remember your child and to lift them up.
Did you go out and protest as well? I mean, were you part of any of those? Or you?
I did in my area. They had a protest, and my husband and I went out and we did. I mean, the thing that I feel the most with the things that are happening is the pain of the mother. That's the first thing that hits me when I hear about another person that lost their life. The first thing I do is turn to the mother and say, "Oh my God, the pain that mother must be in." So that's what affects me the most when it comes to these cases. I mean, they're terrible, absolutely, in every way. But that's what hurts me, is the pain that the mother must be feeling.
It's interesting that I'm just reading some of the comments, and there's so many people that are connecting with you, that are telling their own stories. There's a community of, so many of them. I was just saying to Vanessa Williams that I feel like my Instagram is feeling like an obituary as of lately. There's so many of these stories coming. It's such an interesting time, but what we have to all remember, and in reading your Instagram, I found so much inspiration that you kind of talk about how to channel that energy, how to be of purpose and be purposeful and be of action. And I thought that was really helpful, because I know a lot of young people, Summer's age as well, they have all these feelings, there's all this anger, but what do we do with it, And we're definitely mobilized, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, now, how do we take this mobilization and look towards finding the right leaders? And it's really, they say, and there's always something beautiful that comes out of loss. And I'm sure, I know it's still very fresh, and I'm sure you're discovering that every day. I saw some of the videos of your son. He seemed like such a wonderful young man. It was something about him. It was a birthday video that I was watching, and I could just tell by his shyness, but it's still like he had a good sense of humor. There was, I just saw a little bit of that in him in that moment.
Yes. Joseph was, he was just becoming, just coming into himself. He was 22, but he was very shy. He was an introvert, which was so weird, because he's an introvert. I'm an introvert. But when he got on the stage, he was a spoken word artist.
Wow.
It was like he just took on a totally different personality. Sometimes when he declared his poetry, I was like, I had chills, or you can even hear me in the background of some of them, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, oh Jesus," because it was so powerful, and it was just so strange that he was such a timid person, but when he got on that stage, he just totally turned into a different person, Yeah. So I think that's what I miss most about him. I miss his smile, and I miss his talent. He had many talents. He could sing, he could write, he could draw, so many things were just coming out. And yeah, but he had a magnetic smile that can draw people too.
Yeah. Does it help when you talk about him? Does that make you feel?
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to forget,
Absolutely.
I'm finally being able to get to a place where I can talk about it and not cry with the loss of my mom has been very helpful part of my grief journey. Being able to speak or keep the name and her spirit allowed, alive, that she was here, because you go on to
Yes.
the next life, and it was almost like, they weren't here. So it's beautiful. I can see the light in you when you speak, when you tell these stories.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think, is
I
that,
feel like people deal with it differently. Because for me, well, I feel like it's like, even though like physically, technically, like she's gone, and like I lost my grandfather as well, he's gone. But they're like the like reincarnations, I would say, where like they're kind of still here. Like for me, anytime I see a butterfly or like a singing bird, that reminds me of my grandparents, and it's because after they passed, like those two animals were around us the most, and it was the strangest thing. Like I've talked about it, like four birds like were sitting on this ledge, and then
Hmm.
a butterfly. My mom and I were walking, and we saw it here in New York, and then we got on a plane the next day to Atlanta, and I saw the exact same butterfly there, and Atlanta's where she used to live. And so it was just like I felt their presence. So like for me, it's not like when people talk about it, like I'm okay because I'm pretty strong, and it's like I don't feel the need to break down because I don't really feel like they're fully gone, because they're always going to be with you, like no matter where they are. So for me, like I understand like people can feel like they really lost someone. For me, it's like they're gone, but they're never really forgotten. So it's like I never really said bye. I said see you soon, because like I know that one day we're gonna meet again, and it may not be in this
Yes.
lifetime, but it will be soon.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Do you
I
do you
think
have
that,
that sense of connection as well?
yeah, I think why they say her name or say his name, the hashtags. And I think it's important because when we hear somebody talk about our children or our loved one that passed away, it just brings them back to life for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it also makes it feels like their life mattered,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's why people say, say her name. Or for me, it's like when I hear about Joseph, when I hear somebody talk about Joseph or any of my loved ones that passed, it just brings them to life to me. And it shows me that they remembered them, they thought about them, they thought about me. It just shows a sign of caring and love. I think that some people try to shy away from bringing up the topic, but
To
I think
protect
that
it. Yeah.
hurts more
Yeah.
than anything else,
Yeah. Because you're like,
because then it makes you feel like
they didn't
the
care.
person didn't matter to
Yeah.
you.
I'm so glad you said that aloud, because I 100% agree with you. Is
Okay.
that, I noticed that you started a Joseph Fennell Memorial Fund. Can we talk about what that's all about?
Yes, it's the Joseph Malik Fennell Memorial Foundation, and it was started shortly after his death. And what we wanted to do was to, of course, remember him, and then also be able to help young people who were like him, because Joseph didn't really come into his own till later in life. So, and we know there's some kids out there that have a talent but don't really have the resources to develop it. So we wanted to be able to help them to develop their talent, to give them monetary assistance if they need that. We set up a scholarship fund. So this year we're awarding a scholarship to a student. It should be released in the next couple of days. But we were also to a high school senior at Northern Burlington, which is Joseph's alma mater high school. Um, and we're going to give her $1,000. And then we're also going to run a poetry contest for young people where they can compete and they can earn money as well. So that's what the foundation is all about, just to help young people achieve their goals, in any way possible, and also to do something on the line of bullying, because Joseph was bullied too, which we found out later in life that he was bullied, and we want to do something to help those who are bullied, maybe provide counseling for them as well. So that's what the foundation is all about.
That's really important, and thank you for doing that. I think that's important work. Thank you for taking some time out and sharing your story, and
Sure.
and I think that all those who are watching will really before I let you go, we're really affected by your story. Before I let you go, what could you leave us with that we need to be thinking of as a community who is dealing with loss and grief? What what words could you leave us with? Maybe something you may have heard, or something that you kind of created for yourself.
Well, the first thing I would just ask that people, those who are grieving, remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to breathe, of course, but just acknowledge that you're in pain. Acknowledge exactly where you are, whatever stage you're in. Don't try to run from it. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to play nice for somebody else, because sometimes we tend to hide our feelings so that we won't hurt somebody else, but in turn, we're hurting ourselves. So I would say don't try to, just be who you are. Don't try to be anybody else. Be kind to yourself. Do what you love to do. Whatever will, that something's going to get you out of a funk. Do that thing, with no guilt attached. If you have to scream, I say scream. Scream away. You shouldn't really break things unless you don't really need them. But if you have to scream, then scream. If you want to throw a ball against the wall. At least it won't break. Those kind of things for somebody that's grieving. And for those that are with somebody that's grieving, I would say just give them their space. Not too much, because they still need you. I would say give them their space, allow them to talk, allow them to feel, allow them to share, who it is that they're missing. I guess that's about it.
That's great advice. I mean, that's
okay.
great advice. That's definitely what they would say, a word. So, thank you so much, Evelyn. It was so great to meet you, and thanks for sharing your story. Guys, if you're watching, it's Evelyn Fennell on Instagram. It's up above, and
Thank you.
I'm sure the link is in her bio for the book. If you feel that you need something to kind of unpack some emotions, that's a great place to start. So thank you so much for sharing the story.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Okay, guys.
All right, guys. Sorry.
The outro.
Sorry.
Okay, guys. That is the end of our show. I hope you guys. Thumbnail. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of June and Summer and June, whatever you want to call it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Big thank you to our guest, Vanessa Williams.
And Evelyn Fennell.
For joining us and sharing with us. And remember to breathe, guys. I love you. We love you. Someone out there loves you. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Stay hopeful. And we're going to get through this together. Bye.